Hi everyone, welcome to channel Qtomation. In today's session, we will see about cookies verification in response. So sometimes when we send request, we also get cookies and headers in responses, and we might have to validate those cookies and headers also. But before that, let's understand what exactly is cookie. Cookies are small pieces of data stored on your computer by websites we visit. Cookies help websites remember information about your visit, making your experience more personalized and convenient. So we can imagine cookies are basically small pieces of data that is stored on your computer whenever we visit any website. So similar when we website any whenever we visit any website, for example, let's say I am visiting samsung.com. So whenever you visit the website, it asks you whether you want to accept the cookies or not. And after that, some cookies will be stored on that specific browser for that website. Cookies are basically short piece of information which is saved on the browser whenever we visit. And how the cookies work. So when you visit a website sends a small file called a cookie to your computer. And that cookie stores the information about your visit, like your login status, preference, or items in your shopping cart, etc. So that next time, whenever we visit, your browser sends the cookie back to the website, allowing it to remember you and your preferences. So, we have seen real life examples as well. For example, whenever we visit any online store and add items to your shopping cart, if you close your browser and return later, cookies help to store and remember what you have added into your cart so that it doesn't start over. So that is a basic high level overview of cookie. So just understand cookie is basically small piece of data which is stored on our computer by websites we visit. So in rest assured also, whenever we hit any API, let's say a GET request, whenever we are hitting any type of GET request, in the response we can also get the cookies as well. And if you want to print those cookie in our console, or let's say you want to you want to validate some information of those cookie, that also we can do via rest assured. So in today's session we will focus on cookies. So let me just show you in Postman how actually cookie looks. So this is a Postman. I have opened a tool called as a Postman. So if you have already familiar with API testing, you must have used Postman tool. So it is just a tool to send request and see the responses in our view. So for example, in this I am going to create a new collection. Let's say I am just creating new collection. In this collection I am just naming it as test collection. In this test collection I will just create one new request. So I'm just creating a new request. I'm going to use get type of request. I will just hit www.samsung.com. So this is just a get request. So whenever I visit this website, I will just call this API by get request. Let's hit this API. Now you can see the response. So in body, this is basically response, but we are interested in cookies. So if you see along with the response, there is a cookies data. So this is a cookie name. So total 4 cookies are there. Country underscore codes, country underscore region, device underscore type, s underscore FPID. So there can be n number of cookies for different websites. For this specific website, these are the 4 cookies which are there. and these are the values for each cookie. So name and value, name and value, name and value. So cookie has some name and there is some value associated with that name, and along with that there is some metadata, for example domain, path, expires, HTTP only, whether it is secure or not. So all other information is basically metadata associated with that cookie name. So now we will see via using REST assured how we can check the cookies, how we can print the cookies, or let's say how we can check the cookie data. All those steps we will see today. So we will use the same endpoint with get request. So now let's go to Eclipse. Now let's see practically how we can work with cookies validation, or let's say cookies information in REST assured. So first step is I'm going to create a new class. Let's create a new class. I'm just naming it as cookies underscore handling underscore demo. Let's finish it. So I have created a cookies demo class. I'm going to import some of the static packages which we have already used in our previous sessions also. For rest assured, we have to use those package. So I'm just copying it from our last session. I'm just pasting those here. After that, next step is we have to create a test method. So I'm just creating one test method, void test cookie demo. So I have created one test method, and since we are using test ng, I am just using @test annotation, and then our regular syntax, for example given dot when dot then. So given, when, and then section. Now we are going to use this URL, and these are the cookies information which is coming in the response. So I'm just copying this URL. There are no prerequisite as such. So in given section, I'm not going to pass any information. So we can keep as it is. In dot when section, what we have to do, we have to first put URL. What is the request type? Get is a request type. And in get request, we are just putting the URL. So this is the URL we are going to hit. It will give you the response, and then we can add validations in then section. So what I want to check is, my first requirement is, let's say I want to validate in cookies, that is country underscore codes value is IN or not. I want to check whether country codes, that is the name of the cookie, is coming as IN. So that is the validation I want to check. Now please understand that in this case it is coming in for any time. If I hit this request, it is coming similar value, but there can be some cookies value which will give you different values every time you hit the API. So they may or may not be the same. So you have to understand first whether the values which are coming, cookies will be generated, but value for each cookie parameter may or may not be the same every time. It can be a different also, but in this case they are coming same for every time I hit the request. So I'm just going to put this validation. So I'm just going to check whether country underscore codes, that is the cookie, is having this IN value or not. So I'm just copying this. Let's go to our code. That validation we can put in this then section. So there is a method, let's say dot then cookie. In this cookie we have to pass what is the key name. Country codes is a cookie name, and what is the value which we want to verify? IN. So that is the value, and then we can put semicolon. So now this test will verify. What it will do? This test There is no prerequisite, so that's why given section is blank. And in this case, even it's fine if you don't provide this given section at all. That is also perfectly fine. So we can directly start with when section. But just for understanding purpose, I am not deleting it. So given, I am just keeping as it is. So given dot when, then we are hitting this URL along with the get request type. So it will give you the response, and then we are validating. In response, we are checking in the cookie what is the name of the cookie, country codes. The cookie which is having name as country codes should have this IN value. So we are verifying this country codes is having this value IN. So now let's save this file, and we can also print the response as well. So let's say I want to print overall information. So dot log dot all. So here we don't have to put semicolon because at the end here it is ending. So this is a continuous statement. So it is ending here. So it will print all the information in console along with this specific validation as well. So it will check country codes should be IN. Then only test case will pass. So now let's execute this file, run as test-ng test. So it is starting the test case, and if you see test case got passed, in console it is printing all the response basically. So it is showing you all the HTML data of that page. But along with that, if you see at the starting of the response, you can find out some cookie information as well. So if you see, there would be some information about cookies as well. Now if you see content point script, let me just scroll a bit. So this is a response which is got printed here. Now I just don't want to print all the response. What I want to do, I just want to validate. I just wanted to validate whether that cookie contains value of IN or not. So just to avoid confusion, I am not going to print all the response here. So it will just print, it will just check whether country codes was IN or not. If you put some another value, let's say instead of IN, I am putting, let's say ABC. So it should fail the test case now. So I am just going to execute this test case one more time. So this will fail the test case. If you see, test case got failed. And why it got failed? If you see the reason, expected cookie was country codes was not AVB, it was IN. So in response, it is coming as IN, but we have intentionally kept it as AVB to fail the test case. That's why it got failed. So that is a simple example of checking and validating the cookie in the response. So we have checked a specific cookie. So this code was for checking specific cookie value. We have provided the specific cookie name and the expected value. So IN was expected value. Similarly, you can put another parameter validation as well. For example, let's say I want to check country underscore region is CA hyphen on or not. So what is the step for that? Let's copy this. Let's go to our code. We can again put, just remove this semicolon. We can again put dot cookie. What is the name? Country underscore region. And what is the expected value? CA hyphen on. So if you see CA hyphen on. So this is the expected value. So I'm just putting semicolon here. So this is my expected value. So country codes cookie should have IN value and country underscore region should have CA hyphen on value. So if you see, this is the expected. So let's execute this case one more time. If you see, test case got passed, both the validation successfully worked. So this is a simple example of using given, when and then and checking and validating the cookies for specific names and value. Now let's say this time we have used then section, given when and then section. We can also store entire response in the response variable, and then we can print all the cookies as well. So for example, let's say I want to store the response first, and on that response, from the response type of object, I want to fetch the cookie information and put different type of validations. So that also we can do. So what I will do, I will just give priority equals to 1. Let's say priority equals to 1 for this test case. And after that, I'm just going to create a new test case. So let's say I'm just going to create another test case. I'm going to name it, let's say, test all cookies demo. So I want to, let's say, test all cookies demo. So far what we have seen, we have checked, we have validated a specific cookie name and its expected value. A specific cookie name and its expected value. But let's say I want to print all the cookies information. Let's say I want to print all the cookies which are coming in the response, and I want to print all the values for those. I want to print all the cookie name and all the cookie values. Then how we can do it? Now for that, what I will do, we will be using given section, when section. But now instead of validating inside this then section, what we will do, we will store entire response into response type of variable. So how to perform that? So we have to create, let's say, response res equal to given when the URL will be hit and the response will be fetched, and it should be stored in this response type of variable. But whenever we perform that activity, we should not use then section. We will first store entire response in response variable, and then we can put different type of validation, or we can directly print the output as well. So let's import response from restassured.response package. So response res equal to given section dot when, and we are hitting this URL, and the response will be stored in this response type of variable. Now after storing that, before that, let me just use @test for this specific test case. @test, and we are going to give priority equal to 2. So after first test case, it will be executed. So response res, we are hitting given. In when section, we are hitting the URL, storing that response in response type of variable. And now by using this response type of variable, we can fetch the cookie information. So now what I will do, I will just use this response variable res dot get cookie. So if you see, there is a method called get cookie, res dot get cookie. So this method, what this will do is, we have to pass the name of the cookie. So in previously we have used then section for validation, but now what we are doing, we are performing storing of response in the response type of variable, and then fetching the cookie information from that response type of variable. From this response class object, that is the response res, we are fetching the cookie information. So res dot get cookie, in this we have to pass the name of the cookie. So what is the name of the cookie? Let's say country underscore codes. So I'm just passing this value here, country underscore codes. So when you use this one, it will return you the value of that specific cookie name. It will return the value of that specific cookie name, and we have to store that in string type of variable. So let's say string cookie underscore value equal to res dot get cookie country code. So it will store the value of this country underscore codes cookie into this string type of variable. And if you want to see whether it is successfully fetching the correct value or not, we can simply print it. So let's say I'm just printing it, that value. In console, I'm just putting value of cookie. Which cookie we are giving? That is cookie value. Let's say country underscore codes plus putting some space plus cookie underscore value. Let's save this and let's execute this file. So let's run as test-ng test. If you see the output, value of cookie country codes is IN. Now we can also print another value as well. For example, let's say I want to print the value for this device underscore type. And how we can do that? So let's go to our code. Here we are fetching the value for cookie underscore value for country codes. Now what I will do, I will create one more variable string cookie underscore value of device underscore type equal to, from the same res object we can fetch get cookie, and we have to pass the name of the cookie. So what is the name of the cookie? Device underscore type. So we want to fetch this value, that is PC, for this device underscore type cookie name. So I am just giving that here, get cookie device underscore type. It will be stored in this cookie value underscore device underscore type string, and then we can simply put that output in the console. So sys out value of which cookie this time? Value of cookie device underscore type plus, let's say some provide some space, plus cookie underscore value underscore device type. So let's print that value in console. So again, let's execute this file as test-ng test. It will successfully print the values of both the cookie names. First one is country codes IN, device type is PC. So that is how we can store the response first in the response type of variable, and then from response type of variable also we can fetch the values of specific cookie names. So this is one simple example. Now I am just going to comment this part. After commenting this, now what is my requirement is, so what we are doing here, we are hitting the endpoint, that is samsung.com, and we are storing that response into this response type of variable. Now my requirement is, I want to print all the cookie names. I want to print all the cookie names. So far we have printed and fetch specific information of specific cookie name. Now let's say there are n number of cookies and I want to print all the cookie values. So how we can perform that activity? So again we will use res, that is the response which is stored in this response type of variable, and we can simply use get cookies. So if you see, there is a method called get cookies. Previously we have used get cookie for single specific cookie name, but if you want to fetch all the cookies, we can use get cookies method, and it will return which type of data it will return. If you see, it is returning map data type. It is returning map data type, which is having key as a string and value also as a string. So if you see, cookie is having name and value pairs. So totally 4 name and value pairs will be returned by dot get cookies method. That would be of map data type. So previously we have used hash map, but again this is a hash map is basically map is a interface which is of string and string data type. It will return key value pairs in which key is basically string and value is also string. So that we have to store into map data type. So map, what is the key will be in string format, value will be also in string format. Let's give some name. So map, I'm just giving it as, let's say, all underscore cookies equal to res dot get cookies. So res dot get cookies will return all the cookies, key and value pairs, and it will store those in all underscore cookies. Let's import map from java.util package. So it will be automatically imported. Now from this all underscore cookies, which is a collection of all the key value pairs of all the cookies which are present and fetched by res.getCookies. Now what we will do, I want to print. Now I want to print all the keys. So when you use, if I want to pitch from the hash map, if you have used in hash map or map in Java, and let's say I want to print, I want to print all the key values. Let's say first I want to print all the key values. How we can print all the key values? So if you want to print all the key values of map data type, we can simply use all underscore cookies dot key set. So when you use this key set method, it will print all the key values. So it's a basically map, it is a map data type. All cookies contain all the key and its associated value. So totally, if you see here, this is a key, this is a value, this is a key, this is a value. So all these four pair of key and values will be stored in this map data type. And when you use system.out.println all cookies.keyset, it will print all the key values, all the keys, only keys. It will print all the keys. So let's execute this, run as test-ng test. So if you see now, it is printing all the key set. If you see here, in the form of list, or we can say array, it is printing all the name of the cookies. If you see country underscore region, s underscore fpid, country codes and device type, these are basically all the name of the keys. So from that map which contains name as well as value pair, we are using key set method which will print all the name of the cookies. It is just printing name of the cookies. But now if you know the name of the cookie, if you have the name of the cookie, we can easily fetch the value of that name also. We have used in our previous example only. If you know name of the cookie, how you can fetch the value of that cookie? By using dot get cookie method. In the get cookie method, we have to pass the name of that cookie. It will return value of that cookie. But this time it is all the cookies are basically in the list format. So it is giving you all the name of the cookies in list. So we have to use for loop for iteration. So we have to use for loop for the iteration. So I will just use advanced for loop. Inside this for loop, I will just define one string type of variable, let's say I, which will contain what this will contain. So from this all underscore cookies, I'm just giving all underscore cookies dot key set. All underscore cookies dot key set. Just now we have seen. So what this will return, I'm just commenting this now. So it will basically return all cookies dot key set. What it will return? It will return the list of name of the cookies. And from that list of name of the cookies, in this for loop, we will fetch one by one. So first name will be fetched and stored in this I variable. And in the iteration, what we will do? Once you know the name of the cookie, once you know the first name of the cookie, by using res dot get cookie, we can simply fetch the value of that cookie as well. So I'm just using res dot get cookie, in which we are passing this I. So I, in the first iteration, I will contain name, first cookie name. So let's say country underscore codes. So it will store country underscore codes in this I. It will get cookie method will give you the string type of, let's say, string cookie value. It will give you cookie value, and we are just storing that string cookie value, which will be basically value of this I. I means name of that cookie, name of the cookie. So in first iteration, first cookie name, second iteration, second cookie name, and it will give you every time in each iteration it will print this cookie value. So I'm just storing that value in cookie underscore value. Now we can simply print also. So let's say system.out.println, we can simply print this cookie value. So in every iteration it will print value of all the cookie names one by one. So let's save this. Let's run as test-ng test. Now if you see all the four values of all the four cookie names. So CA hyphen on, this second value, third value, and fourth value, device type. So all the four values we are successfully able to print. These are basically all the values of all the key names. If you also want to print the name as well, that also we can do. We have already seen how to print a name. So all cookies dot key set. So I is basically nothing but name. So let's say I want to print name as well. So what I will do in this system dot out dot println, I will just simply print, or we can simply give string dot cookie underscore name equal to I dot toString method. Let's save this, and here we can simply put the cookie name and cookie value. So this is for cookie value. I'm just using cookie name plus, putting some space, and again plus, and cookie value. So now let's execute this file. If you see, test case got passed, and if you see in this here, all the name of the, so country region, this is the name of the cookie, this is the value of cookie, this is the name of the cookie, this is value of the cookie, again this is the name and this is value. So all the name and all the values of these four cookies got printed in our console. So I'm just closing this. So by using for loop, we can simply perform this example. If you see, if you understood, I hope you have understood this example. What we have done, so first we have just stored the response by using given and when. We hit the URL, we store the response in this response type of object. Now after that, from this response object, we are fetching the cookies and storing those key value pairs in map data type. We are just storing all the key value pairs of all the cookies in map data type. This all underscore cookies contain all the key value pairs. After that, we are using for loop because we have to iterate. So all cookies dot key set, what this will do, all cookies dot key set will fetch all the key names, all the names, basically all the name of the cookies, and that will be stored individually one by one in this I. And then we are simply printing all the values. So from this response dot get cookie, in which we are passing this name of the cookie, and that is basically printing. And then we are also printing name of the cookie name. So we are printing cookie name as well as value of that cookie. So get cookie will fetch the value of that cookie name, and in every iteration one by one it will print all the name and values of cookies which are present there. So this is how we can use rest assured first of all for specific cookie and value. If you know, and if you want to print or if you want to validate specific cookie name, that also we can do. And we have seen the second example in which basically we have checked for, we have first stored the response in response type of variable. Instead of using then section, we have first, we are individually stored all the response in the response type of variable, and then we can put and we can print the output in our console, or whatever validation you can want to give, that also we can provide by using this technique. Now there is one more example I want to show, one more type of example. So I will just create one more new test. So let me just create a new test. So let me copy paste and let me create a new test now. I'm just creating another test. So this was a first test, this was a second test, and now I'm creating a test. Priority is 3. Void test all cookies demo. I'm just giving detailed. Again, we are going to store the response. So let's say response res by using given and when section. We are storing the response in this response type of variable. I'm just removing this part. Let me just remove this part. So we have used get cookie method so far. So when you use get cookie method, in which you have to pass the name of the cookie and it will return value of that cookie. It is basically just contains name as well as value. So we have seen how to handle name and values, but along with that there is some metadata also present in the cookie. So there is one more method called get detailed cookie information. So after you store this response, let's say I can also use like this. So let me just show you. Res dot, we have used get cookie method so far. We have already seen usage of this get cookie, and get cookies also. Get cookie to for single cookie and get cookies is for all the cookies. But if you see, there is one more method called get detailed cookie. Now what this will do, get detailed cookie will return cookie object. It will return a cookie object, and from that cookie object also we can fetch the information. And this cookie type of object will contain all the metadata information as well, which was not present in our previous examples. So when you use get cookies or get cookie, it will just give you name and values. But if you want to handle cookie metadata also, then we can use get detailed cookie method. Now get detailed cookie will contain all the metadata along with name and values as well, and it will return the object of cookie class. So when you use get detailed cookie, it will return the object of cookie class. So by using get detailed cookie also we can fetch the information. So now I'm just passing, let's say, cookie name here. So in get detailed cookie, what we can do, let me just pass, it will return cookie type of variable. So c double o k I e, let's say I'm just giving cookie equal to res dot get detailed cookie, and let me just provide name, that is country underscore codes. So let's provide that country underscore codes in this. So that specific cookie, and you have to import the cookie package from io.restassured.http. So now it is returning the cookie object, and now from this cookie object, which basically contains which cookie, country underscore codes. Now from this cookie object we can fetch different type of information. For example, let me just create one more variable string. Let's say cookie underscore name equal to cookie dot get name. It will return the name of that cookie. it will return name of that cookie. One more string, let's say cookie underscore domain. If you see cookie underscore domain equal to cookie dot get domain, so it will return the domain. So if you see the Postman example also, there is some additional information like domain, expires, http only, secure. So all this information we can fetch when you use get detailed cookie, which will return the cookie object. And now we can use different methods. For example, get domain will give you the domain. If you see, get domain will give you this domain value. And also we can fetch the value as well. So string cookie underscore value equal to cookie dot get value. So get value will return the value of that cookie, and we can print that information now. So let me just print. So first one, we will print name of the cookie. Let's say control C, cookie name plus some space plus cookie underscore value. I'm just printing the cookie value plus some space and plus cookie domain. So we can also print cookie domain as well. Let's save this and let's execute this now. Third example, let's execute. It will run all the previous tests also. There is some error, however. Let me just check out what is the error. Okay, some syntax error. So I'm just putting system.out.print. Let's execute this test case one more time. So now if you see the output, all the three test cases got passed. And if you see here, information, country codes, that is IN, all the value which are printed here, country codes, along with that what we are printing here. Let me just check out the code one more time. Cookie name, then we are printing cookie value, and then we are printing cookie domain. Let me just give some space here. Save this file and let's execute this file. Run as test-ng test. Now we will be able to see the information we have. If you see country codes IN, this is a domain basically. If you see, this is a domain name, this is first country underscore codes, name of the cookie, this is value of the cookie, and this is domain of that cookie. So that value we are successfully able to print for the successful country underscore codes cookie. Now this was for specific cookie, that is country underscore codes, by using get detailed cookie method. Now we can also print all the cookie information by using get detailed cookies as well. So how to perform that? Let me just comment out this part. Let me just comment it out. So far we have seen for single specific cookie by using get detailed cookie. Now if I want to print all the cookie information by using get detailed cookies, so again the similar approach. So res dot get detailed cookies. This time we have to use get detailed cookies. What it will return? It will again return cookie object. It will return cookie object, and we can store that in cookies. Let's say all underscore cookies equal to res dot get detail cookie get detail cookies method. Again we have to import the cookies package. After that we have to use for loop. We have to use for loop now, enhance for loop. And in this enhance for loop, what we have to do, now this all underscore cookies will contain all the key value pairs, but in the form of cookies object. This will return a cookie object. It will return key value pairs which are present in all cookies present in key value pairs in the form of cookies object. But since we want to iterate over them, we want to iterate them. So in previous example we have where we have used get cookies, it was returning which object? It was returning map type of data. That's why we can easily iterate over them. But here if you see, it is returning cookie type of data, cookie type of object, which is of all underscore cookies, and we have to iterate through them. But before, it is a object type, so first we have to convert that into list format. So what we can simply do is, let's say I'm just creating one cookie type of object in which we will store each cookie one by one. Cookie type of object which will contain all underscore cookies dot as list format. So we are using as list just for iteration purpose, because res dot get detail cookies will return you cookies type of object, but we want to iterate, it contains all the key value pairs, but in the form of object. So first we are converting to as list, and then from this every cookie, so in each iteration from this list, first will be present in this cookie, first cookie will be present in the first time, it will iterate one by one. So now we can simply fetch cookie dot get name. It will give you name of that cookie. In first iteration, for first cookie it will fetch the name. So let's store that string cookie underscore name, and similarly we can fetch all the values as well. So similarly we can fetch cookie underscore value data type, cookie dot, what is the method now we have to use? Get value, cookie dot get value. Similarly we can get domain as well, or any type of metadata which is present. So I am just creating one more type of variable, cookie underscore domain equal to cookie dot get domain. It will be stored in cookie domain. So it will iterate through all the cookies one by one iterate through all the cookies, and it will print those values. So now if you want to print the information, we can simply print all the information. For example, cookie name. So let's say cookie name comma, or we can say plus cookie underscore name. Then we can also print cookie value plus that variable plus cookie domain. So now we want to print cookie domain also, plus let's save this now and let's run this file. So this time for this third test case, what it will do, it will print all the cookie name, cookie value and cookie domain information. This time we have used cookie object to fetch that information. So let's run this file, and if you see in the console, if you see the output, this is the statement. If you see, all the cookie information got printed for third method which we have just seen, cookie name, cookie value and cookie domain. Cookie name first one, this is for second one, this is for third, and this is for fourth. So all the information we have used, we can able to print this one. So these are the simple examples which we have seen. So what we have seen, how to handle different type of cookie scenario, so how to print the cookie information, etc. But normally we don't use that much in our regular test cases of rest assured. But it's better we should know this, because whenever we use .log, dot all, it prints all the information, it print all the cookies as well as all the header information as well. But it's better to know how to work with cookies. So these are the simple example which we have seen to work with cookies. We can use get cookie or we can also use get detail cookies. So what are the difference between these two? Common method. So first we have seen get cookie. So it will return the cookie value as a string. We just have to pass the name. But get detail cookie will return all the detailed information in the form of cookie object. It will return the cookie object, and from that cookie object we can fetch all the different information apart from name, values and other metadata also. In previously when you use get cookie method, it will just give you cookie value in the form of string. But if you want detailed information, then we can use get detail cookie, which will return the cookie object. And there is again get cookie and get cookies. Similarly, get detail cookie and get detail cookies. Get detail cookies will return all the cookies as an object in the form of cookie, whereas get cookies will return all the cookies as a map data format in the form of map. So I hope you understood about this session. Please practice more. So once you practice more, you will understand in better way. So this is the code basically. First code in which we have seen the simple example, given, when and then. We have validated response. So here we have used given, when and then section. In this, for specific cookie names, we have validated whether response is expected or not. In second test, what we have done? In the second test, instead of using then section, what we have done? We have stored entire response in this response type of object, and then we have put validations, or let's say we have put printing output in our console. So here from response, we fetched all the cookies in the form of map data type, and then we have iterated from all those cookies and we have printed all the values of those cookies along with the name. In test cases, we have seen example of get detailed cookie. So for get detailed cookie with specific cookie name and for all the cookies as well. So this is how we can perform these cookie related examples. So thanks for watching this video. Now we have seen for cookies. Now in the next session, we will see how we can work with headers which comes into the response. So similar to cookies, there can be headers as well, and we can also handle headers in multiple ways. So that we will see in coming session. Thanks again.